everybody, welcome back to KRATOM Kingdom, or KRATOM with Chris, whatever you want to call it. I'm your host, Chris Irving, and I am in Knoxville, Tennessee. Today we want to talk about who uses KRATOM. Why would you want to use KRATOM? What's it for? What's it actually do for you? Basically, way back when in Indonesia, there were rubber farmers on rubber plantations that they would have to go out there and score the tree, tap the tree, and collect the rubber that comes out of it. And that's where all of our plastics and rubbers came from. And it was hard work, and you'd have to stay out all night usually doing it because you had to do it when it was cool out for some reason. So they would be awake all night doing it, and they needed something to help them stay awake. And randomly somebody must have pulled a leaf off of this tree and just put it in his mouth and chewed it like gum. I mean, I don't know what would cause somebody to do such a thing, but it turned out to be an excellent source of energy and better than coffee, because it took away their aches and pains, from constantly tapping all the hard manual labor they were doing. And then I got to America, where people started using it to get high, because it does offer a euphoric effect, and it starts off really mild, and then it slowly before you know it, you're high. If you follow all the right rules for how to do it, you've got to have sugar, citric acid, maybe a little pinch of turmeric. It tastes terrible, but it definitely increases the potency, the potentiation of the KRATOM. And then people started messing around with it, trying to smoke it. Smoking it didn't do anything, because the KRATOM would get so hot. Once it gets too hot, it dies out. You don't get the alkaloids anymore, and it doesn't get you high. So smoking KRATOM cigarettes is just not a good idea. It's pointless. All it does is mess with your lungs, and it doesn't give you any beneficial high or euphoria. It's just like smoking a terrible tasting cigarette, I guess. I don't smoke, so. But from the research that I've done on it, once you burn the KRATOM, it burns the alkaloids out of it, making it useless. Other reasons to use KRATOM: if in medicine in Indonesia, it's actually used as an analgesic to stop pain. If you have, if your joints are sore from working all night, tapping rubber veins, you take a KRATOM leaf and that pain melts away, and it's amazing. I woke up this morning, I could barely walk. My knees were out of control in pain. My back was hurting. My bed sucks. So I woke up and I had a really hard time walking. So I drank a cup of tea, and after one cup of tea, I was able to walk normal again. And after 2 cups of tea, I was able to walk better than normal. After 3 cups of tea, I was able to do my exercises that are very important for me to do to try to stay limber and not in pain. After the 5th cup of tea, I started to feel good. I started to feel a good euphoria, and just like I take it with my antidepressant, and it doubles the effects of my antidepressant, making me feel really happy, because it attaches to your dopamine receptors. Your brain is nothing but a collection of receptors that receives chemicals and excretes chemicals. Dopamine is one of those chemicals that is the antidepressant chemical. So if you have more dopamine floating in your brain freely, you're going to feel less depressed. And I live with chronic depression. I take a lot of antidepressant medication. Well, I was able to cut that in half since I started drinking KRATOM. It could be because I'm not in pain anymore, so I don't hurt anymore, so I'm not so depressed. I'm not living with this chronic pain every day, which is enough to put anyone in depression. And my anxiety, I take a lot of anti-anxiety medication. I think I take 2 or 3 different pills just for anxiety. And after drinking 4 or 5 cups of KRATOM, I don't have to re-up on that anti-anxiety medication. I don't take my Xanax 3 times a day anymore. I take it once a day when I wake up. And then I drink KRATOM. KRATOM and Xanax together are an amazing combination. It completely eliminates all anxiety and makes it so I can drive perfectly normal without feeling like I'm going to crash. See, after I had my stroke, I had major brain damage. And it's happened to be right here, which is you have an artery that runs up your carotid artery, and then it comes up into your brain, and then it makes a 90-degree turn and goes to the back of your brain, and it supplies all the blood from the front of your brain to the back right side of my brain. And all that area is dead because it wasn't receiving any blood, because I had a huge blood clot in there right at that elbow, and which causes muscle stiffness. It's called spasticity. And it helps to release some of that spasticity, and less anxiety means less spasticity. And it took me years to figure that out. I've had this stroke since 2003. I don't even know how many years that's been, but I'm not getting any better. I'm walking better, but my hand isn't working any better. I think it would be easier if I cut my hand off, then people wouldn't have any expectation that I'll be able to use my hand to do anything. Because a lot of times somebody will they'll put their left hand out their right hand out to shake my left hand, and I can't open my hand to shake their hand, so it's awkward. Or they'll hand me something heavy, and that takes 2 hands, and I only have 1 hand. So I've got to carry this huge thing with 1 hand, balancing it on the palm of my hand, which I've gotten pretty good at over the years. I'm pretty strong. I mean, I did gain a lot of strength in that one arm because it does everything. And the doctors were like, you should thank God that you didn't lose your right hand, because if you lost your left hand, or if you lost your right hand, then you'd have to be doing everything with your weaker, less dominant hand, and it would take you twice as long to learn how to do anything. And also, when the stroke happens on the other side of the brain, it attaches to a point in your brain called Broca's point, and Broca's point is where your language is. That's where the words come from that come out of your mouth. So I'm constantly thinking of what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. But if it was on the other side of my brain, I wouldn't be able to do that. Words get jumbled with numbers, and words get jumbled with completely irrelevant words that have nothing to do with what I'm talking about. So I might be talking to you and saying 10, 1, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2. And to me, I might be thinking I'm saying I would like a drink of water. But it comes out 10, 1, 4, 7, 3, 9, 6. Whoa, 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 water. And it's incredibly frustrating to have aphasia. So I do feel fortunate that I didn't have my stroke on my non-dominant side of my brain, because I was a school teacher and I wouldn't have been able to teach if I didn't have my words. I still have a hard time with words because you mess up one part of your brain, your entire brain gets messed up. And KRATOM, for some reason, helps me deal with that better. It's like it puts my brain in a pool of dopamine, which makes me feel happy. And I've gone through a lot. Since my stroke, I've gone through a major divorce after 20 years of marriage, loss of my career, loss of all my savings, and I live in the projects in Knoxville, literally Section 8 housing, the projects, because I can't work. And if I were to get a part-time job to earn a little extra money, they would take away my disability payments. And to me, that just makes no sense. I should be able to earn money and still get the disability payments that I got that I paid into. Because I paid into disability for my whole entire life, up until I was 33 years old. So I had thousands and thousands of dollars in disability that I paid into. So that money is mine. It should be mine. It was an insurance deal between me and the government. They would take the money out and hold it for me and give it to me if I became disabled. And so if I want to work at Walmart greeting people, because that's about what I can do, or if I want to work at McDonald's flipping burgers, then they take away my disability because they say, you can work, you don't need that disability. But it's my fucking money. I earned it. I paid into it every month. Every week I paid into it. And I worked for 33 years. I've worked for at least 33 years. So, and with the percentage that they took out of my check, well, everybody, now we know who and why should take KRATOM. So let's keep a positive word about KRATOM. Try not to say anything negative about it, because for us, it's saving our lives. It saves my life. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I get paid soon, so I'm going to have an amazing weekend. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.